Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be concentrating upon different aspects related with controversy and consciousness. So, what is a consciousness? Consciousness is a kind of agreement where a person agrees out of his consciousness, he'll agree that he'll perform a particular task, which was already discussed in Kohlberg's and Gillian's theory. That consciousness is basically a fundamental agreement between one or many people in order to perform a certain task or in order to execute certain agreement. So whereas in controversy means it's a disagreement where people or the policies which does not are suitable for a person, immediately a person will disagree. So that is controversy. We generally used to discuss that this person has created a controversy. That means he is disagreeing upon certain things that are associated with set of rules or maybe ethics. So these ethics will make the engineers to realize upon certain realize upon certain tolerance that you should have in order to bear certain things, especially when you are applying certain moral autonomy. So these conditions will actually play a very crucial role. So these are certain things that an engineer should understand, that what is a controversy and how this consciousness agreements and all does happens in their professional and personal life while they are working in an environment. So let us talk about something related with occupation versus profession. So occupation and profession both are exactly not the same. So they vary in lot of aspects. So the very first thing what that you have to discuss is that profession can be only applied to certain occupations which will meet certain criteria. That is the very first thing is knowledge, where you are working in a environment and you know a lot of theoretical knowledge and you are capable of creating an environment where you can actually discretize certain judgments, or you can actually are not basically routine activity. So that is a very important criteria, that you are a professionally capable person. Okay. So knowledge is the primary thing. Apart from knowledge, you should have certain organization. So certain special societies and organizations are controlled by a set of people or professions which allow the public to play a major role in setting up the standards for admission to the profession. For example, you take photography. Most of the people feel photography as a profession but not an occupation. Occupation is basically which will earn you the money, but profession is you cannot compensate that with money. But here you should be a member. If you are a member of a particular society, then you are basically a professional guy. You take some NGOs. So if you are a part of that, you are actually that's your profession but not your occupation. And the next one is public goodness. Okay, the occupation which serves some important aspects of public good, which can be indicated in the code of ethics, that is your public goodness. See, as I said, for the same organization is serving a group of people. Okay, for example, distribution of some food or clothes for the poor people or very needy people. In that case, that creates some public goodness. So that's all about the occupation and profession and the differences between. So next we'll start with something called as membership criteria. So what is this membership criteria is, like for example, earning a bachelor degree in engineering at a school or a college or a university that is approved by ABET. ABET is basically some American what do you say approving agency or authority that will actually certify that this particular institution is following certain standards, so that whoever comes out of this institution is basically ABET certified candidate. Okay, so performing commonly recognized as what engineers do. Okay, if you are planning to get a membership, okay, for example, you take Engineers Without Borders. So in that organization, it's a global organization where engineers will actually give a lot of inputs to the society by serving them, by creating awareness, by creating or by scheduling some campaigns, so that they'll do something, give back the society something. And the next one is being officially registered. So you every organization or a membership providing agency will actually should register and licensed as a so once you are done, for example, you take a civil engineer that who is certified to build lots and lots of large towers and all. They should get some certification. Unless and until you are not certified, you are not licensed to do that, acting in a morally responsible way. So, as I said, engineers' morality should not go once you get a degree or once you get into your profession, your morality should not go down. At the same time, you have to, what do you say? You should, while practicing, also, you should follow this morality. And what are all the models of professional roles? Okay, so for example, if you are planning to go into a professional society or professional organization, so what kind of models you have to frame, or what kind of models you should be assuming in order to be very successful in a professional role? The very first thing is savior. So savior, in the sense, you might be understanding, like uh, you are a representation of your organization where you are coming from, or maybe the school from where you have studied, or the college where you have studied. So he or she should redeem the society from poverty. That is one of the primary models. So poverty removal is basically one of the fundamental goal. These models can be somehow estimated to goals. Okay, at the same time, waste and drudgery of manual labor. So if you are into a robotics engineer, so you are basically reducing the manual labor by replacing the robots, thereby creating a good awareness on how to remove unwanted stuff, or unwanted things in the manufacturing, etc. The second one is you are basically the guardian. Okay, so this word, the guardian, will tell that you will create directions, you will lay paths for your juniors, okay, or the technology that you are planning to develop. And again, you, since you are laying the paths, that those are not essentially the correct paths, you have to correct yourself as well. And since we are actually in a society, we are supposed to what do you say, should not be very much authoritative, rather which we should give a kind of input to the society that which will be, which most of the people will be interested with. At the same time, you should understand the society pulse as well. So in that way you can lay a good path, okay, or a pace at which you are working. You can be a role model kind of stuff. Okay, let us start with the next one. The same thing in models of professional roles. It is bureaucratic servant. What do you understand by bureaucrat? Bureaucrat is basically who actually direct certain people, or who direct certain set of people. Okay, it's basically a management role. Okay, so engineers, the role of engineers is to be servant who receives and translates the direction of the management into concrete achievement. So it's not essential at times that engineer need not to be a servant. He can also be a he can also reach the position of a director, who actually directs a set of people, okay, so who are working under you. Social servant. So it lies in the see, the word itself will tell that you are basically a social servant. You are meant to do your job that will actually satisfies or fulfills the society and a group of people. Okay, you should be a true master. You should be a true master in the society, like that. And the next one is social embler or catalyst. So the purpose of catalyst is to improvise the reaction, right, in chemical technology. Similarly, the model, this catalytic model will tell you that how you can improvise somebody, or how you can improve the same process in a better way, kind of optimization, or kind of reduction of cost, kind of see, you will improve the process, or you will improve the technology in such a way that you will get more benefits out of it with the little input. Gameplay, definitely, engineers are definitely neither servants nor masters. They are actually the game. Instead of players, I would like to take the word game changers. Okay, so you cannot imagine the world without an engineer, because the day to day development is being happened with the engineers alone. Okay, because they are responsible for the development in almost every aspect. Okay, the next one is basically virtue ethics. What is virtue? Virtue is good or bad, right? So, actions are considered right if they are supporting good character traits, those are virtues, and wrong if they are supporting bad character traits, those are vices. Okay, the exact opposite word of virtue is vice. So, if you are supporting good, if you are doing good things, that your character will tell that he is a good person. Okay, so they are closely tied to personal honor. Okay, when you're honoring someone, okay, definitely this virtues will play a primary role and vices will play a negative role. Okay, whenever you are supporting a good set of people, that means your virtue is good, that means you are a virtuous person, right? Right, the next one is theories about virtues. Okay, there are a lot of theories about virtues, out of which will be dealing about few things. That is the very first one, which was framed by Aristotle. Virtue and the golden mean. Okay, he has made a very peculiar statement that virtue will influence a lot of people. Okay, so virtues are responsible to acquire habits. That means if a person is maintaining his health very nicely without taking the bad part, okay, maybe in terms of food or maybe in terms of consumables, etc., so that will actually influence a person who is very healthy can influence persons who are very poor at their health. So that's the virtue of this person, right? So they are also enablers, they are also very good enablers to engage into rational activities. So rational is being very positive, being supportive to good. So that's a very rational activity. So being a virtuous person, that means he can what do you say, make others also to influence in a very right manner. Next one is moral virtues are always the tendencies to acquire through habit formation to reach a proper balance between extremes in condition, emotion, desire, and attitude. So, this complete statement will tell you moral virtues are the good tendencies to acquire through. That means if your boss is helping poor, so his influence will be there some or the other way on you, because you will be visiting him on daily basis on your office, at your office. So that will create a good virtue or a good habit. So probably at some or the other day you will get influence with his attitude towards the poor in helping them, and similarly it will create some desire as well. So if your co-employee purchased a good vehicle, so that means that will also influence a good virtue. That means having a good vehicle is always a good thing. So he will also try to get a good similar vehicle, or maybe a vehicle of your choice that has influenced you. Okay, so virtues are the tendencies to find the golden mean. That means extremes of too much and too little. Okay, that means extremes of being too good or a little goodness. So that will create a good tendency, right? So the best example is truthfulness is the mean revealing all information in violation of tact and confidential, that and being secretive. Okay, that means you should not be truthful in every aspect. You should not leak out all the office related information to your a friend or somebody, because that's a bad thing. Okay, so virtue has the negative face as well, because revealing all the information is like a kind of violation of act. Okay, you are violating the act. So in that case, being very virtuous is not good or not required. Okay, so the next theory is about which was framed by Macintyre. It's all about virtue and practices. So Macintyre is a contemporary ethist who has a stimulated a renewed interest in virtue ethics, applied to thinking about professional ethics, right? So he has made idea of social practices, right? And cooperative activities aim towards achieving public goods that could not otherwise be achieved, at least not to the same degree. For example, everybody collaboratively are working, so that is a cooperative activity or a collaborative activity. So a good thing can be achieved within a higher degree if you are very collaborative and cooperate. So these goods are internal to the practices, in that they are defined what the practices are all about. So these goods are these things which which are developed based on their regular practice, okay, they define how they are actually practicing it. For example, you are making an iPhone, so iPhone production is very good because all the employees of the iPhone are cooperatively working in order to successful in order for a successful growth of the company's profit, right? So that these boots are like basically the internal practices will tell how the product is. So they differ from the external goods. For example, if you are importing some goods externally, okay, which are of no are a low quality, okay, so these things will not actually help out. Okay, the primary internal good of medicine is the promotion of health. Okay, so the internal good of medicine is what? It's like the promotion of health. If you have a very good health, you need to go take a lot of medicines. So the next one is like professional responsibility. Okay, so professionally how you should be responsible for certain things or certain aspects that comes in the due course of your regular professional practice. So the very first one is being moral, and it's as professional. So you should be moral enough as well as professionally good. The second one is, so professional responsibility is basically an umbrella of virtue that encompasses a wide variety of specific virtues that acquire importance in the particular situation. So being good, it will protect you as an umbrella. Okay, being good, right? So it will encompasses a lot of variety. The best example is you want to leave at your office and you have requested your boss, okay, so he will be if you are telling the exact reason which he feels that it is very much required to take a leave, he'll definitely give. Else if you are simply framing up some stories in order to get leave, at times there is a higher chance that you might be caught. Okay, so that basically it's a falsification of certain thing that you are actually passing on to your colleagues, right? Next one. So many virtues can be grouped into four categories. So this responsibilities are the virtues. Okay, it's been comes under in one of this category. The very first one is self-direction value. A person individually he has certain virtues, certain good things. Maybe he's brought up, or he has his learning, or maybe from his family, or maybe from his friends. He has got those things. Okay, those are called as self-directed virtues. Virtues that are spirited by or inspired by external people or public, that becomes a public spirited virtues. So teamwork virtues, whenever you are working in an organization, you won't be working alone. Definitely you require certain what do you call teamwork. Okay, so this teamwork is basically possible only with teamwork virtues, else it is not suitable. Okay, and proficiency virtues, if you are good at certain thing, for example if you are good at programming, definitely your virtue will be good because you have higher chances that you will be selected on the top level, right? So let us start with the next one, integrity. I think integrity, most of you guys know, it's a unity character based on the moral concern, especially on the basis of honesty. If you are honest enough, that means you are integrally very strong. So this consistency among our, this is like unity is like consistency among our attitudes and emotions, conduct in the relation with to justify moral values, because we India is always been called as an integral integrity at the on top. Our integrity is very huge. We are separated by number of states, languages, etc., but still we are integrally one, or that is also called as unity. So integrity makes possible the virtues of self-respect and pride in one's work. India, being an Indian, everyone will feel proud because whenever this flag rises high, this integral thing will comes onto your brain that okay, even though you belong to different states, but as an India, as a country, we are one. So that will create very good impact on your positive learning, a positive way of life. Next one is honesty. Honesty, I need not to explain much. It's basically truthfulness and trustworthiness. It's already, I think it's been discussed earlier. So that's all for today's video. Thank you. Thanks for watching.